Okay, welcome back to part two with Rick Olderman, orthopedic physical therapist. Again, sports and orthopedic physical therapist with more than 25 years of experience. We learned in part one just so much wisdom, Rick, and so excited to have you back. We're going to do this really fun. We're going to hit a bunch of pain points fast and hard today, and you can rattle off where you think we can run with this.
Okay, great. So one of the biggest myths in medicine is this idea of leg length discrepancies. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about sciatic pain. We're going to talk about SI joint pain. We can talk about plantar fasciitis. Then we can talk about neck pain and headaches. And then we can connect all of this stuff together. So that's where I think we can go
Yes,
today.
please. Yes, please. Yes. All right. So go down. You start.
All right. So a lot of people who are listening who have sciatic, SI joint, or other back pain, whatever, are told that they have one leg that's longer than the other. And it's, for the most part, not true. It looks like you have one leg longer than the other because when you stand there, you have one pelvis that's higher than the other, right?
Mm.
But that is a functional compensation for another problem. That's your brain tapping into. Remember in our last episode, we talked about Thomas Hanna has identified these reflexive patterns that we're born with. Well, one of them is a withdrawal reflex. And when you can imagine, if you watch videos of babies stepping on something unpleasant after they're born, you'll see that they have this withdrawal reflex where they pull their foot up, right? Well, we're not, again, that reflex pattern is still in us. We're just overriding it for the most part. So what your brain is saying is, hey, man, there's some problem in this leg and you're making me go from A to B and you're not really caring how I go from A to B. So I'm just going to make this subtle adjustment. I'm going to lift up that pelvis so we don't hit that painful thing all the time. All right.
Mm.
And so over time, what happens is that your pelvis is gradually lifted. Well, the muscles that are lifting the pelvis up are connect to the rib cage too. So at the same time, the rib cage is also coming down. I call this a side bending problem, and you can see why. One side of the pelvis is up, one side of the rib cage is down, and this creates more compression on this side of the spine. Well, the nerve roots that comprise the sciatic nerve exit from this side of the spine. So this is why we develop ultimately sciatic pain or SI joint pain. It's because of this asymmetry. So ultimately, the problem is due to some other problem, older problem in the leg. But most people aren't trained to think like this because, oh, well, I had that really bad ankle sprain, 20 years ago, but it doesn't hurt me anymore. Well, it doesn't hurt you anymore because your body has learned to compensate around it. The sciatic pain that you're experiencing, or the SI joint pain, or the unilateral back pain that you're experiencing, ultimately is likely due to that old ankle injury that hasn't been rehabbed correctly, that your brain has just figured out a way to get around because all you care about is getting from A to B, not how you get from A to B. And so the leg length discrepancy is really just that functional pattern that your brain has done, a little jujitsu move to get around that pain, but your legs aren't really the different lengths. It just looks like they're different lengths. I can correct this in 10 steps. We can correct it in 5 seconds, right? This asymmetrical pelvic issue. But we have to ultimately solve why it's happening in the first place so that it never comes back again. So this pattern is what's responsible for unilateral back pain, sciatic pain, SI joint pain, hip pain, all sorts of things like that. And you can imagine why.
Yeah. Okay. So quick question on that, because you mentioned no, it's an old ankle injury. What are you asking or helping your client dive into to help them go, oh yeah, how do
Yeah.
you pinpoint that?
So this is the really cool thing about injuries is that if we fix this and we fix all of the compensations that have occurred because of that, and I get them to use their body better, they're going to say, oh gosh, why is my ankle hurting? I said, this is the source of your pain. So when you fix, I would much rather deal with a knee issue, a hip issue, or a foot issue or ankle issue than deal with a sciatic or SI joint or back issue. So when you fix people's issues and you make them use the body the way that they're supposed to, what rises up out of that is the old injury saying, oh, because now you're not compensating for it anymore. And now it brings it to the surface and you can say, that's what we need to fix. This is why you're having all of these problems. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Great question. So anyway, we can go deeper into the side bending pattern, but in 80 to 90% of the people, The side bending pattern problem is happening because of some problem in the same leg. In 10 to 20% of the people, it's happening because of some compensation in the other leg. In fact, I just worked with someone with sciatic pain over on this side, and we realized after talking with her and talking this through, it was related to an old ankle injury on her opposite side. And this ankle injury happened on a hiking incident where she was carrying a heavy backpack and had to load over to the other leg. Well, now the other leg is carrying 10 or 20% more of your body weight in addition to the 40 to 60 pound backpack. And over time, as this healed, she never went back to weight bearing on this leg again. She just stayed over here on the right side because her brain didn't say that anything was wrong with this, right? No, nothing hurts. We can keep doing this. But over time, it does hurt. It breaks everything down. Now we talk about plantar fasciitis. So plantar fasciitis, the plantar fascia is on the bottom of the foot. And we talked about fascia in our last episode, that it is connective tissue that runs through the body. Plantar fascia is a particularly thick piece of fascia, like a piece of fabric. And what it's designed to do is help your arch bounce back after you walk on that foot. Well, what happens is the main cause of plantar fasciitis, itis just means inflammation. It just means it's irritated, is that your calf muscles are too tight. So when we walk, our knee should be able to bend over our foot like this. The ankle needs to be able to bend. But if the calf and soleus muscles are too tight, it restricts the ability of the knee to bend over the foot. Well, if you've ever turned and accidentally walked into a table or a door, your body is generating a lot of force when it's moving forward. Well, that force, it has to go someplace when you're moving forward. And if your ankle can't bend, then there are two places that force needs to go. It can either go down into the foot or it'll shoot back up to the knee or the hip, right? Well, the foot has 26 joints in it. So there's lots of ability to accommodate that excessive force. But in accommodating that, then the foot flattens excessively. Well, then the plantar fascia has to stretch excessively, and it doesn't get to bounce back the way it's supposed to bounce back. And then it becomes irritated. Ultimately, it comes down to a calf and soleus muscle that's too tight. But stretching the calf and soleus muscle doesn't solve the problem because that's not why it's tight. It's tight because of how we sleep. So if you sleep on your back, you have a cover on your foot that points your toes away. That's 6 to 8 hours of calf tightening during the night. If you sleep on your stomach, the bed is now pushing the foot away, right? Again, 6 to 8 hours of calf tightening or shortening. And if you sleep on your side, you'll notice that usually your feet are pointed away like that as well. 6 or 8 hours of calf shortening. So this came to me after I've been stretching calves and soleus, and every day it would come back again and come back again. I'm just like, what is going on? What is causing these things to contract? And then I realized it was how we sleep. Once I realized that, almost 100% plantar fasciitis correction. All right. So ultimately, that's what needs to happen is to fix how you're sleeping in order to fix the plantar fasciitis.
Which means, like, I've seen the socks that pull your foot back, or what's your recommendation?
Yeah, I have a dorsal night splint I recommend, and that's in my foot pain program, and it's sold on Amazon. It doesn't have to be that specific dorsal night splint. But the sock, what I've learned about the sock is that it's going to pull the toes back. It's not going to pull the whole foot back, right? So the calf and soleus still get to tighten up again. So I like the dorsal night splint instead.
Okay. And you're saying dorsal night splint.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm literally going to hang up and end up calling like 5 of my clients.
All right. Great. Yeah. And then you get to be the hero, right?
No, I will not take credit. I will give you all credit.
Credit. It's you. So this is the thing is that, everyone can learn this. I mean, you're running through your whole list of people with injuries, right? And you're thinking, oh, I'm going to look for this side bending problem. Oh, I'm going to look at this plantar fasciitis. Oh, their back pain. I'm starting, this is how it should be. This is, if people like you understood this, Lindsay, and you could nip chronic pain in the bud and you would have a line going out your door and then I would put me out of work, which is what I would hope. I don't want to see chronic pain anymore. I mean, it's easy for me, but I wish people could get fixed right in the beginning before it even happens. fixing these things from a system standpoint in the body rather than this
Right.
component thinking that we're training. But you can see how
Yeah, no,
easy it is,
that's
right? You don't have to be a
right.
genius to implement this.
Well, and I think it's like all professions, and I love when there's teamwork happening because we all catch each other's clients and hear what we needed to hear that we can forward on to that next person too. Me understanding what you're talking about, I get to transfer that knowledge, and that happens with diet and it happens with just PT and everything. So I thank you. Good point. We all need to know this.
Yeah.
I did. I know you have more to say moving forward, but I really, before we miss out on more time, what is up with the like stretching and it comes? So you started to talk about this with the plantar fasciitis. If somebody feels like their whole body is constantly tight and they stretch and they feel better for that small amount of time, and then they wake up and it's all back over again, never loosening. What's up with that?
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about with Thomas Hanna's work. This is a neurological tension pattern that you're describing. So if you stretch a muscle, that muscle should stay lengthened because you've stretched
Mhm.
a tight muscle. But it's not going to stay lengthened if it's a contracted muscle because you've taught it to be contracted. It's going to recontract the way that you've taught it to be. That could be in response to biomechanics, dietary issue, inflammatory response, emotional, psychological issue, whatever is feeding that contraction pattern. And so I've created, also on my website, you can just get these somatics audio lessons. I've created 8 of them that are designed to help people relax their bodies and reduce this tension pattern in 8 different types of ways, in 8 different types of patterns. All right.
Mm.
They're hugely powerful. And I ask almost all people with chronic pain to begin with those, because then you get to see, oh my gosh, it's a larger tension pattern that's feeding my pain, not just that stupid stretch I've been given over all these years, right? That keeps getting tight again, right? Now I get it. This is a tension pattern. And so this is really liberating for a lot of people to understand.
Yeah. And again, this is on your website. Name your website again.
rickolderman.com.
rickolderman.com. And you said there's 8 of them on there?
Yeah, so they're 8 lessons. They're all about a half hour long each. They're like a very gentle yoga session, but without the strain. They're designed to release tension. So you're not going to leave that session feeling like you're all worked up, right? And got a good sweat out of it.
Yeah.
You're going to leave that session and you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, I can move so much better. I feel so much more relaxed. I feel so much better. And if that's how you feel, it's telling you, oh, there's a larger pattern of problems creating my pain rather than just
Mhm.
my hamstring tightness or something like that.
Right. No, that's so good. Are you going to go into this something like fibromyalgia or autoimmune type? Or have we already kind of covered, or is this its own issue altogether when somebody has more of that type of chronic pain?
Yeah, so no one understands what's going on with fibromyalgia or various other autoimmune issues, but
Wow.
our body has many different systems. I'm just talking about our musculoskeletal system. We have our
Yeah.
intestinal systems, we have immunity system, we have our central nervous system. We have all different types of systems. So I think these more difficult problems like fibromyalgia are an integration of all of these systems coming together to create global pain rather than just
Yeah.
one system. And so what I tell people is, I don't make any claims to solve chronic fibromyalgia. If I did, I'd probably be a multi-billionaire, right? But
Yes.
what I can say is my program will help you eliminate the musculoskeletal system aspect of your pain. So it will help you use your body better and reduce tension in patterns in your body that would decrease pain. And whatever musculoskeletal derived pain you have, this will likely
Mhm.
solve that. Then you're left with whatever other systems are contributing to your pain as well. But at least you'll be able to move your body better, feel less musculoskeletal pain. That doesn't mean that you'll feel less fibromyalgia pain. It'll just mean that you're using your body better. So you'll know that, oh, this isn't musculoskeletal because I'm using my body better now. And I'm doing the somatics and they're keeping my body relaxed.
Yeah. No, that's a great answer. And I think when people are in chronic pain like that, if you're offering even 10% feel better, 20% feel better, it's a heck yes, right? Like anything's better than where I currently am type of working towards. I
I
don't
have to
know.
say it is
What
a
am I
big
not?
deal for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like pain, again, I know we said it in our last episode, but it's a game changer. It's the quality of life component that some people have given up on. So I think to listen to you today and know that there's other areas to investigate is really hopeful and promising. So thank
Oh,
you.
oh gosh, there's so much more for people to investigate. I'm telling you, this is so different than how I was trained and how most practitioners understand the body. I call it a
Yeah.
systems approach as opposed to what they've probably been looked at is a component approach. It's huge. It's a huge deal.
It is. And I think when like I live in podcast land, so I hear more individuals like you. But when you don't get these perspectives, it's like some people don't even know there's another perspective, let alone I feel like we're learning about it, but it's really slow. This is a really, we're not coming upon your type of knowledge quickly. And I don't know how to continue to expedite that, except stuff like this, like getting to shout it out to larger communities. But
Me too. And I don't know if we're doing okay on time, but I'd love to get into the cause of chronic neck pain and headaches. You mentioned that your audience is largely female, and a lot of females suffer from neck pain and headaches. So I'd love to chat about that
please
briefly.
go. Yes.
Okay. All right. So the surprising cause of almost all chronic neck pain and headaches is not the neck or the head. It's the shoulder blade. All right. And the reason is if you Google the anatomy of the shoulder blade, you'll see that there are significant muscular attachments from the shoulder blade into the neck bones and the base of the skull. So when the shoulder blade is dysfunctional, it transmits forces along those muscles to the base of the skull and the neck. And so people will say, oh, but I've got ridiculous symptoms, numbness and tingling down my arm. Well, yes, you do, which means that you have a problem with the neck, but you have to keep asking yourself, why are you having a problem with the neck? You're having a problem with the neck because of the shoulder girdle system. Remove that issue and that ridiculous stuff will go away because it's only responding to the forces from your shoulder blade. All right.
Mm.
So, what's the most common problem that's occurring? Well, the most common problem is that the shoulder blades are resting too low. And so I can show you a really quick test to show your listeners how to test for this in themselves if you want to see that.
Yeah.
Okay, super easy. So let's say you have neck pain or headaches. So you stand there and you turn your head left and right and look up and look down. And you say, oh, yeah, when I turn this much, I have this much pain and so forth. This is all restricted. Then you get someone, preferably a nice friend, to stand behind you and they're going to put their hands in your armpits, all right, like this. And they're going to lift up your shoulder blades about a half inch to an inch higher. And your job is to relax your shoulders onto their hands as much as you possibly can. They might need to jiggle them around a little bit to get you to relax. So after about 15 or 30 seconds, you're going to turn your head again, left, right, up and down, and notice whether you can turn further without pain or you have less pain overall. This, if you do, this is confirming that your pain is caused by your shoulder blade system. All right. Now, there are a lot of people who have been in chronic pain and they can't relax their shoulders. So they'll say, oh, I don't feel any change at all. So that the next part of this is when your friend removes their hands from your armpits again, you will then feel the full weight of the arms off your neck and head again. And then that's when you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, I really feel that in my neck now that you've lowered my shoulders back down. This is confirmation that the shoulder blades are the source. Look, that's only a 15 or 30-second test. Imagine if this was unweighted from your neck and head all day long, right? Then you would be amazed to see how quickly your neck pain and headaches go away. I don't care if you have migraines, tension headaches, whatever kind of headaches you have, or neck pain, what kind of results are on your MRI. If you have chronic issues, this is the huge stressor to this system.
So interesting. So you know that people are going, so now what? Yes, like what if it's that? Is it a brace? Is it like what fixes that mechanic?
Well, again, we have to look at why the problem is happening in the first place. So why would the shoulder blades be resting too low? Well, most people who've been to yoga, Pilates, or if they have a history of gymnastics or dance, have been trained to bring their shoulder blades down and back into their opposite back pockets. This cue is given to create good posture. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a false cue though, because what has happened is I believe the aesthetics of dance have slipped into yoga, Pilates, gymnastics, and so forth. And we have this desire to create a long neck because it looks good. Dancers have long necks. They're the epitome of beauty. So let's try and all have long necks. But I don't believe that this is the original cueing for yoga hundreds of years ago, is to pull your shoulder blades down into your back pockets. All right. So what is happening is you are depressing the shoulder blades by your effort to bring your shoulder blades down and back into your back pockets to create better posture. Because look, if I do that, look, I'm now up tall, and this is how I'm supposed to be, right? I'm supposed to be tall like this. Well, doesn't this look just like that Landau reflex pattern that we talked about with Thomas Hanna? The super alert, pattern, right? So you're reproducing that pattern by doing this move. So how do we solve it? Well, we take the shoulders out of the equation. So here's really easy. Put one hand up on your chest, the other hand on your belly. Take a deep breath in. You'll feel your chest lift. Exhale. You'll feel your chest go back down again. All right. Inhale again once more. Feel the chest lift. This time when you exhale, you can exhale all the way, but don't let the chest go down all the way. Let it go down 99% of the way, but not that last 1%. And you'll notice when you stop the chest from lowering all the way that your stomach muscles have just engaged ever so slightly, maybe 5%. All right. Can you feel that, Lindsay?
I can, yes.
Okay. That is your core holding up your rib cage. That is why we have so many layers of core muscles and why they're so big. That's what they're supposed to do. All right. So now you're getting them to engage naturally, simply by holding the rib cage up maybe a millimeter. Okay. So the second part of this equation then is to bring your arms down by your sides and loosen up the shoulders and get them like two dangling ropes by your sides. And you'll notice that once you've relaxed your shoulders, you've also let go of your core. And the reason is because you've tied shoulders to posture instead of your core to posture. So this is going to be your homework, is to frequently get the shoulders out of the equation, learn how to engage the core naturally, just simply by lifting the rib cage. And this will start, and you will be amazed at how much your neck pain and headaches will start to diminish because of changing your posture strategy. So notice that the solution is not, I'm not telling people to engage their core. Otherwise, I'm going to get people who are just like contracting their core all day long. Look, my neck doesn't feel any better. That's not what I said. I said to lift your rib cage a millimeter. You'll feel the core engage naturally, and just relax your arms, right? You don't need to do 1,000 sit-ups to do this, right?
Yeah.
And you'll train your core to become stronger naturally by engaging it naturally to hold your posture correctly.
This is so good, Rick. And you can tell you've worked with people for a really long time because you already know the other side of where they naturally go. So you have to like train them back.
I've seen it all.
Oh, you have. I'm telling you, I could have you for the next 8 weeks, and we do have to wrap up. But if you could wrap your arms around our community and be like, if you've heard nothing else today, please hear this, what would that look like?
Well, my first message would be that you're not broken, folks. You have to understand that medical professionals are trained in this component thinking. We are not trained in systems thinking. It took me 25 years to figure all this out and put it together because we're not trained like this. So once my home programs fix all of these problems quickly and easily and logically. So you are not broken. You can solve this. This is why my first series of books is called Fixing You. It's not me fixing you. It's you fixing you. And that's the way our bodies should be. We should be able to fix these things ourselves because ultimately we're the generators of our own pain.
Yeah. That's you just named the podcast. Generators of our own pain. It's so true. And you can find all of Rick's materials at rickolderman.com, which will be in the show notes. And you can find his books on Amazon, and any last minute shout outs where you want people to come visit you.
Just on rickolderman.com. Take your time, look through everything there. There's a lot there. The answers to solving your pain are likely there. So take your time, invest in a little bit of, try the somatics lessons if you want to. I've got a free ebook there. I've got free chapters for my new book. Slowly absorb my information if that's where you feel comfortable going.
Yeah, so good. Thank you for all of your wisdom and hanging in there for a 2-part series with us these last couple of weeks. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I could talk to you for 8 weeks too, Lindsay. I mean, as you can see, I love talking about this.
You're so good. It's so good. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.